if you're walking around with a closed third eye, you're really in the 3D. You really blocking off all of the other realms that you can connect with, the higher dimensions that you can connect with that are waiting for you to unlock it. Welcome back to another episode of the Walking Towards Light podcast. I'm your one and only host, Walker Williams, and this is a place where you can learn, you can grow your consciousness, and you can be your best self. Now, it feels so good to be back in the place where I belong, talking about the things that I love and bringing love to the world and talking about these deep topics and all the things we love to talk about, right? I know I've been gone for 2 weeks. I had to take care of some business, y'all. I had to take care of some 3D business, I would say. I had to lock in, but I wanted to be right here. But in the meantime of me being gone for 2 weeks, I had the opportunity to join somebody else's show, the Brittany Mac podcast. And it was such an honor to be on her platform. That episode was such a divine timing moment. It was something that me and her was talking about for years. Early when I didn't even have confidence in my voice. But now it's like, I got a podcast. We both podcasting at the same time now. So it's just like, I'm way more confident in my voice and just my journey and all the things that I've learned so far. So for all the people that watch this podcast and support this podcast, I hope y'all tuned in to her. If you have not, please make sure you go follow her on Instagram, follow her podcast on Spotify. She's on all platforms just like me. The Brittany Mac podcast. It was such a great time. I feel like that episode was so different for me because it was different, new, everything. It was a paradigm shift because I've never been on the other side of podcasting. I've never been on another side where I'm getting asked questions and, really unpacking my journey and picking my brain. So being on that side of podcast was definitely fun. It was a fun time. It was great conversation, great laughter, great understanding. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, it's a must watch. And her podcast is amazing, and she is amazing. So make sure you check her out as well, and the rest of her episodes, because she's in a new season as well. So, but yeah, since I've been gone for 2 weeks, y'all know what's been in incubation. Okay, we got some deep shit to talk about this week. And the one thing that has been sitting on my mind in these 2 weeks of me being gone is the third eye. We got to talk about the third eye this week. It's only right that we talk about this. I'm still surprised that I haven't discussed this yet on this podcast. But this week, it's a must to talk about the third eye because you can't have an awakening without activating your third eye. You can't grow unless you don't understand what your third eye is. It's a part of our human body. It's a part of our spiritual growth. So it's only right if we talk about it, we break it down and we discuss and have some great conversations about it. So make sure you get your minds open. Make sure your mind is open. Make sure you got some popcorn and some notes because we finna yap about the third eye. Okay, y'all see I'm super jittery about this because it's so cool. The third eye, the pineal gland is so cool. I just couldn't wait to talk to y'all about this. Okay, so if for the people, either it's beginners that's on your spiritual journey or people that's curious or people who don't know what your third eye is. Your third eye is it's a small gland, like probably about this size, that's in the middle of your brain. But also it's like, this is why when people point to the third eye, you see pictures where you have the eye right here because it's actually perfectly aligned with this area right here. But it's in the center of your brain. right? And this gland is the connection of, if we want to just talk about physical, it produces melatonin. And also people believe, and I don't want to even say, I'm saying people believe for just other people, but I believe that in a lot of spiritual teachers and leaders and very conscious people say that the pineal gland also produces DMT. But we're going to get into that. We're gonna unpack that more in the episode. And also, it plays a part of your circadian rhythm and your sleep. So it's very important to notify that. Like this is, and it also has photoreceptors like your eyes. That's why it's called the third eye, right? But it's still so much more to unpack. But yeah, it's a very essential part of your spiritual awakening, your spiritual journey. Okay, to know your third eye is to start to know your third eye is to start realizing of who you are and why you're here, and just your essence. It is an antenna. That's what I believe. I believe your third eye is an antenna. This is the thing that where we can access downloads. We can access all of the abilities, the psychic abilities that we all can access, whether it's clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentient, right? This is the antenna to the higher consciousness, right? The higher spiritual realms. This is where people in meditation, they connect with that third eye. They feel the visions, all of those things. And even when we dream, and we had a whole episode on the dream world, when you close your eyes and you still see, and even when you're visioning, right? You can meditate and you can visualize your life. You can when you're trying to manifest things, you can visualize what is that thing, right? That's your third eye. And in Vedic traditions, they call it the Ajna, right? But that's your third eye chakra. The 7 centers of your body. Your third eye chakra will be right here, exactly where that is, right? And to speak on the DMT, it produces DMT. Now, this is a crazy thing about your third eye, right? Your third eye, if it produces DMT, people believe that once you transition this life, your body, your third eye releases DMT when you pass, right? But also you can find DMT in plants and animals, in a lot of places in nature. That's why in terms of ayahuasca, all of these plant medicines, right? They get these herbs, and they get the brew from the plants. They extract the DMT from the plants and put it in the brew of your ayahuasca trip. And that's why you'll be able to have these powerful transformational experiences. And a lot of times people actually smoke DMT, just take DMT, and when you do that, what happens a lot of times, for those people who do research on psychedelics, DMT is like God mode of psychedelics, right? A lot of times their whole body disintegrates once they take DMT. But see, that's the thing. It's like a preparation. A lot of times people who go on these experiences will realize that they always say they feel like they died. And I know for people who haven't experienced that or look into the experiences of DMT, it sounds pretty rough, but it's very cleansing. It's an ego death. People who have these experiences no longer be scared of death. And we already had a podcast on death, so we're not going to go too deep on death on this one because I know that's heavy. But I'm connecting it to the third eye because that's how you know how powerful. A lot of times people believe that is the way of, once our time pass and we're ready to transition out of this life, that is how we jump from out of this physical form through that gland, right? Which also the gland helps us even in terms of astral traveling, right? All of these spiritual experiences, these intuitive downloads, all of these things, that is our connector. That is the bridge from the spiritual to the physical world. Literally. Everything that we access in our abilities that we have, that we're capable of, we access it through the third eye, right? And that's why a lot of times, if we can go into this, ancient traditions, ancient civilizations, they was prominent and they was very strong and they held the third eye at a high standard. Not even just a high standard, but on a high pedestal of everything, your third eye. And the thing about the ancient civilizations that's so cool to me is just like, how did they know it was a third eye? You see the symbolism, so many things, right? They had a lot of hieroglyphics, and you had damn, I can't talk. You had the Anunnaki civilization, right? The Anunnaki period, to where you see a lot of symbolism of them holding a pine cone. And right, and you see pine cone, pineal gland, that was the symbolism of the pineal gland. Right? You in a lot of, and I'm gonna have pictures on this podcast for you can see in the traditions from all the older civilizations, right? Where people call this stuff new age. It's so crazy to me. Spirituality is not new age. You can't say something that's new age when it's been around for thousands of years, right? That's why I'm like, these people, these civilizations been on that. Ancient Kemet been on that. The ancient Sumeria been on that. Atlantis been on that. Like, this is nothing that's new. This is thousands and eons ago, before religious scriptures were written, right? These were ways of living to where you had higher consciousness and higher just ways of living in terms of spirit and the connectivity of every single thing that was going around in these civilizations, right? You see I can't talk. You see the symbols written all over their texts and their hieroglyphics and everything that's documented, right? And the crazy thing is like, how did they know? How did they know that the third eye was so powerful, was the gateway, was the seat of the soul? How did they know that? Right? And it's so crazy. You even have like the Eye of Horus. The Eye of Horus is literally the depiction of the third eye. It looked exactly like the third eye, and also I'm gonna have that picture on there too. But it's like, how did they know what it looked like? Right? You literally have to cut a brain in half to see how the setup of your pineal gland looks, right? Because thousands of years ago, they didn't have MRIs. They didn't have all this technology to scan the brain and all of these things. They didn't have that. But what they had, they were so connected with their inner being. They were so connected spiritually to where they had these downloads, and these downloads came to them in meditation and in visions, and all of these just connections that they had, because they was way more lighter. They was lighter beings, more telepathic. And we're talking about eons ago. We're talking about 10 to 50,000 years ago, right? If you read up on the Anunnaki story, everything was just way more together spiritually. But not even just the Anunnaki. Like I said, we have ancient Kemet, all of these civilizations that was years and years ago. They already knew about how powerful your third eye was, the pineal gland, right? This is the access to the spiritual realm. We all have that. We all have a pineal gland, y'all. Every single body have a pineal gland, right? And even in other cultures of India and Buddhism and Hinduism, I just say India, but Hinduism, Buddhism, All of these things, you see the symbolism in all of these cultures. Like in Hinduism, they call it the bindi, to where you see the dot right here, right? The meaning of that is the protection of the third eye, the Ajna, okay? Even if you see Buddha, my Buddha don't have it, but in a lot of pictures you see the dot right here. That is symbolism of the third eye, right? Because in terms of you awakening and you getting this enlightenment and you getting this new understanding of yourself and everything around you, you are rising above the Maya, the illusion. But to do that, you have to awaken your third eye, right? And a lot of our spiritual teachers of the past, they knew how to awaken that, and we all can awaken that. And even for myself, I feel like I've awakened my third eye in several different ways. um I mean, my shroom trip this year was very third eye opening. But even before that, I feel like the cleansing of your body, detoxifying your body from all of the harmful foods and all the things that contain fluoride, right? Fluoride is a thing that calcifies your third eye. We have to decalcify our third eye for we can start being able to use its abilities. Because once you decalcify your third eye and you awaken it, you see things differently. Your life completely change, right? You start seeing beyond the illusion. You start being able to pick up on energies, pick up on the subtleties of people and understand yourself better, being able to get downloads, be able to get intuition, right? Intuitive feelings, to better trust your intuition. Because if you're walking around with a closed third eye, you really in the 3D. You really blocking off all of the other realms that you can connect with, the higher dimensions that you can connect with that are waiting for you to unlock it. Because you're so immersed in this dense 3D, right? It's kind of like you locking yourself from all of the beautiful powers that you can have, which we all access to, honestly. Like I said, we all access to this, but you can walk around and just completely block off everything. And I think it's you have to be ready though. You also have to be ready to open your third eye. It's not something there's work. There's inner work into opening your third eye. You have to, like I said, you have to detoxify. You have to work on your chakra centers, balance yourself, remove negative things in your life that is not giving you life, that's not balancing you. There's a lot of deep awareness that you have to build to at the same time. I'm not telling you to jump straight into trying to awaken your third eye. There's a lot of work and understanding that you have to do before you do that. For you can be able to, it can be a balanced experience, for it won't be like you open your third eye and now everything is making you recluse and make you want to withdraw from the world. Because it be like that. You start seeing life differently. You start seeing things for what they are and not what for people told you that they are. And not all of these things that are distracting you from the powers that we have, that is within us. Right? Because, and that's why it's so crazy how it's easy to get us, because honestly, it's crazy how they have got us and it's so many of us. But But it's like I see a lot of people just walking around just normally in their life, just disconnected from the inner abilities that they have, and just going by their day to day and eating whatever and doing their, day to day jobs. And after that, it's just like you get lost in that. And then you're easier to be controlled. You're easier to have that fear energy within you. And once you start understanding your third eye, you start unlocking it, you start using this power, you start being free, you start being yourself. You know yourself. The more you know yourself, the more you free yourself. Right? You know your inner essence. You start becoming pure. You start being able to love more and give back more to people. Like I said, I think for me, the third eye should never make you more recluse. It should actually make you have more compassion, more empathy. Meditation is another way. It's almost the most important way to awaken your third eye, because that is a process. Now, it's a process for meditating, but also the more you meditate, the more you can access that. You know what I'm saying? Like the more that you can, but you have to focus on your third eye as well. Focus on your third eye, meditate in silence, or you don't even have to meditate in silence. You can use third eye activating frequencies. So yeah, you can meditate to 852 hertz, right? That is the frequency to help you activate your third eye. Me personally, y'all know me, I like to meditate in silence. I think silence is the best way to really go within, to just silence everything. You can focus on your third eye at this moment. But I know it's work, so you can start off slow with 10 minutes and 20 minutes and build yourself up to a longer meditation if you want to. But 30 minutes is cool too. Like 30 minutes is a good meditation time. Lately, I've been doing hour meditations. But you ain't gotta be like me. You ain't gotta be like me. I've been meditating for a long time now. But yeah, I think there's a lot of ways, but meditation is the most important. But also, just like I said, detoxifying your body, especially from a lot of fluoride products. There's a lot of fluoride in toothpaste. I have to, even with me, like I'm gonna be honest, like even with toothpaste, I feel like I can clear everything out, but I'm still figuring out my toothpaste situation, which one works the best for me. So find which fluoride-free toothpaste works the best for you, because there's a lot of fluoride in toothpaste. But yeah, the more you eat clean, like I said this even in my alkaline diet podcast. I'm telling y'all, I'm being honest. The more that you eat cleaner, you drink water, your body is more accessible to its purest state. It's more access to the downloads, the intuitive nudges and feelings that you get. Like lately, I feel like in my life, I feel like I have literally been just so immersed into my third eye and my third eye chakra and my heart chakra too and my throat chakra. I feel like those are the most that's really engaged right now, because I've been getting so many downloads, and I think there's a moment of just I get the download and then I instantly just do it. Like I'm like, it comes to me and I do it. Like I'm about to drop 2 songs very soon. Those songs just came to me and I was just like, I'm finna record it. Right? It just happened. Lately on my TikToks, there's been so much love on my TikTok. So much growth. I'm so grateful for the growth that's on both of my podcast page and my TikTok page. If you're new to my YouTube, if you're watching this YouTube video for the first time and it's on my page, please make sure you follow my TikTok pages. It's Walker Williams with the 1 instead of the L on 1, and then you got the Walking Towards Light podcast page. So make sure you follow those. But even with the videos, it's not planned videos. Like my videos that's with me sitting in the car and talking, it's not planned. Like I literally have thoughts to where it just comes to me and I was like, I should talk about this. And then I just record it and then boom, upload it straight to TikTok, and then it's just been going crazy. But it's literally been instant download, then instant follow up. And then the results has just been doing what it's supposed to do. I just let it rip and it works at what it works. But it's I feel like I'm so aligned with my spirit. I'm so aligned with not even just my spirit, but spirit in general, with source, God. I just feel like the downloads have been coming so freely and easily because of just that. It's that knowing. It's that connectedness with my mind, body, and soul. And it's coming so easy, and I trust my intuition, right? And that's another thing, to trust. You build more trust. You build more when you have your third eye open. You have a trust in your intuition and that gut feeling. But when you're so distracted with life, you're so distracted with things around you, it's hard for you to listen to yourself. It's hard for you to actually hear what spirit is trying to give you, right? We're so access, like I said, the third eye is an antenna. So we're all access to this the spiritual realm and the things that it want us to have and give to life and give to the world, regardless of if it's creation, inventions, ideas, understandings, intuitive guidance, right? It wants to give us this. Our higher self want us to get to that point. Our soul guides want to speak to us. But if we're so distracted, if we're so engaged in conditions and we're so trapped within fear-based thinking and fear-based living, we're not able to feel and understand what spirit is trying to give us. And I think that's very important. That's why it's very essential to remove these toxins, remove the fluoride, heavy foods and junk food and all of these things, to where you can go more inward. Your meditations improve, your alignment improve, your life improve if you do these things, if you meditate more, it's like that shit just clears. That's why I think in my life personally, in my spiritual, it's like my third eye has been growing so much open over the years because of just the cleansing that I've been doing, the transformations that I've been having, right? And I think I always talk about my shroom trip this year, but that was very important for my mission and my journey. It showed me, it was like the veil thinned so much to where I had direct connection with my higher self and source. It was like literally the direct connection to that, right? And that's the beauty, and that's the beauty of like psychedelics and people who even take DMT. I talk about DMT early on in the podcast, but how these things that are from the earth and natural that have these, like DMT is so, that's why I'm like, that's a very good point of how the pineal gland is the bridge to the spiritual realm. Because if you take DMT and it gives you this life transforming experience through something that was extracted from a plant that is in your brain, right? And if people say once you transition, you release this DMT, but when you smoke it or you take it, it gives you this experience to where you feel like you died and you come back and you like, I no longer fear death. I was shot into the middle of the universe. I feel connected with everything and everybody. I am one with everything. Right? Because it's like, the thing is, when you take DMT, it's not your time to actually go. So I think it gives you a preview of what that feels like. It reminds you of what you're from and what you're connected to. So in actuality, when it's your time to leave this existence for real, that isn't the experience. The shot out is to shoot out from the physical form into the spiritual realm. In your true essence, you go back to that. But like I said, we're not talking about death. I don't want to scare anybody off. For the sensitive ones, I'm gonna take it light. But I think it's beauty in that. The third eye, like I said, even I'm trying to make sure I don't forget about things, but even to go back to the Eye of Horus, right? I forgot to tell you, but like the ancient Kemet in ancient Egypt, right? I think I spoke about this in a podcast before, but they had something called, right? It's not only, we was taught that we have 5 senses, but in the ancient civilization of Egypt, they believed we had 6 senses. right? And that sixth sense was thought, right? And I talk about this, and I think I talked about this on my dream podcast. I said this early, but like the sixth sense being thought is so powerful because when you close your eyes, like I said, you close your eyes, what is that thing that can still smell? What is that thing that can still feel? What is that thing that can still hear when nothing is going on around you and your eyes are closed? That is the most important. I want people to sit. If you made it to this point in the podcast, sit and literally like just reflect on that. What is that thing that can hear, smell, that can feel when you're not doing anything? Like a lot of times when I sit in meditation in pitch black in the dark, before I go deep into the just awareness, I do that. Like I picture myself right now. We can be on this podcast. You can close your eyes and you can see yourself right now on the beach. Right now I'm doing it right now. Right now I'm on the beach. If you want to join in, you can join in with me too. You can picture yourself on the beach, right? We're on the beach. Picture your feet in the sand. You know what that sand feel like? Yeah. And then you can walk up to the water. You can feel the waves hit your legs, hit your body. It's kind of cold a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like you can hear the waves, right? How are you able to do that if you're not there? That is your sixth sense. That is your third eye. That is your third eye. That is the thing. And the crazy thing is, I was doing deep research. You actually don't see out of your eyes. Now this is deep. You actually really don't see out of your eyes. Your eyes are just taking in light. Right? It's taking in light. It's just light receptors. You're into your retina and all of those things. It's just taking in light. But it's not the actual thing that what you're seeing. It's your mind that is actually picking up on the consciousness and is making sense of what light you're perceiving. You get what I'm saying? So what I feel like, you actually perceiving life through your third eye, through the awareness of the consciousness, right? But your eyes are picking up on the light. But your mind is making sense of what light that is in front of you. I hope that makes sense. I could be wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. But that's what I feel like. I feel like the third eye is the vision. That is the understanding of this consciousness experiences that we are part of. It is the literally the seat of the soul. Like it's literally the experience of this life, the connection to our abilities, the connection to higher consciousness, to higher realms, to deeper messages, right? And this is how we awaken. The more you understand your third eye, because we all have the third eye. And like I said, there's a big society of people that get lost into this world. You get lost in the clubbing life. You get lost in needing to go out and consume alcohol every single day, every single weekend. You consuming hookah. This is not judgment. I'm not judging. But it's just like you consuming all of these things and you just distracting yourself with all of this stimuli and stimulation. I said stimulation, but you stimulating yourself in so many different ways and you're blocking your true power. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't want us to know that. You know, it's a big society. Just imagine a society where everybody knew their own power, knew that they was access to the higher realm right here, right now. It would be really hard to listen to the system, right? If you really think about it, it would really be hard to listen to the system if everybody knew what they was access to on the daily. And we all have this. Like I said, I keep saying this is like my fourth time saying this. We all have it. Nobody's separate from having the pineal gland. Everybody has the pineal gland. It is there for a reason. Right? And that's another deeper story, because I was going to go into Anunnaki of just creation of how, but I'm going to say that for another day. But once you awaken that third eye, you look at life differently. You perceive life differently. You are able to be open to just the spiritual connection, the things that are just waiting for you. But you can't be blocking it. We be blocking it. So that's all I have this week, y'all. I think I wanted to just talk about the third eye and I just want to geek out on the third eye. I know I was kind of rambling a little bit. I was kind of all over the place, but I hope y'all can take something from this and from my message and from the things I had to say. If I can leave y'all with something, I would just say this week, just be aware of your third eye. If you have time, just sit in silence. I'm always going to be pro meditation, because the more we quiet our mind, the more we open our heart, the more we open our inner eye, right? The more you quiet the mind, you open your inner eye, right? And that's going to help guide you through the rest of life. It's going to help give you a clearer understanding of things that's going on around you. It's not going to keep you trapped in fear. It's not going to keep you trapped into your own illusions of all of these things and stimulation that's around you, like constant every single day, just getting just so distracted with so much stimulation, so many things that are blocking you from your inner awareness and your inner power. So just become aware of your third eye to know that we all have this pineal gland. Nobody's separate from this pineal gland. Okay, with just a lot of times you can be blocked. It can be blocked from people, and we don't want that. We want people to understand their power, understand their essence that is given to them, and how your higher self and your guides and your ancestors are all waiting for you, all waiting for you to remember that. This is all about remembrance. And that's the thing of my podcast. It's not more about just teaching. It's more about helping you remember who you are and what is the true foundation of your being, of your inner being, of your inner power. Okay? Because that's what I feel like my purpose is. I've done a lot of inner work through my 20s. I mean, my whole 20s has been dedicated to spiritual growth and transformation. So I want to give that back to y'all, and hope y'all can feel it in your bodies. Hope y'all can feel it in your soul. Feel it in your heart. Feel it in your chakra. Feel it in your chakras. Your 7 chakras. It's important. Yeah, that's all I got, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode where we geek out on the third eye. Definitely stay tuned for more episodes. I really appreciate y'all support. Make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you turn on them post notifications. Okay, make sure you go rate 5-star rate the podcast on the listening episodes and all of that. Make sure you show up and support your boy, because we're going to keep going. We're not stopping anytime soon, because the job not finished. In the words of Kobe, job is not finished. So I hope y'all have an amazing week. I hope y'all go within. I hope y'all love yourself. I hope that you enjoy this week. Take the things that come, sit with it. Don't allow things to stick with you. Choose love, walk with love, lead with love, never fear. And it's going to be a great week. And we're going to see y'all next week. Y'all have a great week. I'm repeating. I'm so happy to talk to y'all. I keep repeating the same shit. But yeah, we out.